Hello and welcome back to Better Than Adventure. Last time, we were playing Minecraft, and we did quite a bit of stuff. I actually ended up fucking up a part of the... I said that after 8 seconds, so we're fine. But yeah, I ended up making a bit of a mistake. So I had to fix it. But now, we're fine. So what I ended up doing, if you're not aware, is I'm just thinking. I'm doing some math and trying to figure out what the best way to set the building up would be. Hold on. I got it. Okay, so we'll put 2 more blocks up here of stone. But basically, yeah, welcome back. Last time, one of the topics I was talking about was old YouTube, and I want to do the sort of meme, which is just, what would I do if I could, you know, go back at my current age with my current knowledge to, like, '06. What would I do? Just, I would take Leningrad instead of sieging it. I would, Zergrush Stalingrad, because that's a legitimate military tactic. I would ignore Africa, you know, but no, it is kind of just how would I best utilize hindsight. And the way that I would do it, honestly, is if I could go back there, I would obviously, you know, make 2 YouTube channels. One of them would be for the Let's Play stuff, and the other one would be sort of the other stuff, and I would kind of cross-promote them. Because back then, channels were more like, you know, a big ship approach, when on modern YouTube, channels are like a per-video approach. So, nowadays, if you have, like, a YouTube channel, if you have a video that performs really well, YouTube will not just recommend any video on your channel to the audience, but they will try to recommend other videos that are similar to your current video. So if somebody really, really loved watching me play Echo Knight, which I know at least one person said they did, you would have, you know, only those kinds of videos recommended to you, because YouTube wants to, you know, get you to watch, you know, things you would want to watch. So basically, because of that, you can kind of have a multi-niche channel, like I kind of do, where I do, like, a mixture of, like, tech nerd-related things and Let's Plays most of the time. But there's also a second part to this, which means, you know, back then you couldn't do that. So, another thing which I would obviously do if, you know, I would play video games, obviously. But I would try to keep it to games that don't lose that much from the, you know, lowered resolution up until... And I would obviously upload the videos in 640 by 480 anyways, even if you only had, like, 240p back then, 30. But the big thing which I would do is, I would make 2 versions of every... I would buy whatever version of Vegas or whatever was popular back then out at the time. Maybe an old version of Premiere. I'm not sure. I use Kden personally, but I don't think old Kden would be that good. And I would basically use it as my, you know, full-on encoder. There is my full-on editing software, and I would make 2 versions of each video. The standard definition version for YouTube, and a second HD version. The idea would be I would make, like, a basic standard definition version of, like, let's say, what would be topical in, like, '07, '08, yeah, PS3 versus 360, right? And then I would, you know, after I'm done with that video, I would collect the, you know, what people thought about the video, I would read the comments, and I would make a 2.0 version, or I guess a 1.1 version. And this one would be switched from a, you know, 480p 4x3 format to a 720p 16x9 format. so that by the time when HD came around in, you know, late '08, I would already have a bunch of videos to go up in HD, and I would just call them remasters, because that's what they'd essentially be. You know, with corrections and everything, and that's how I would sell them. That's my other big idea. But overall, I would just try to not cause any controversies, because I am an immaculately, I guess you could say, uncontroversial person. I don't know. Uncontroversial in the sense that, like, I'm not cringe. Your brand is safe with me. I'm not going to, like, I don't like cars. Maybe if you're a car company, then. But, like, you know. Maybe if you have, like, a car brand, maybe, yeah, maybe I'm not the best choice. I'm out of stone. Uh-oh. I'll have to go back and I'll also get a bunch of other stuff with me, but, yeah. But yeah, I'm, like, gonna advertise myself as the relatively brand-safe version. Memes aside, what I want to talk about specifically is, like, holy shit. I would just make sure that I'm not doing stupid stuff. Honestly, it is kind of interesting. There are so many channels who've been extremely sort of safe, even if the people in them have themselves been kind of controversial. Mainly because there are two kinds of controversies, right? There's the sort of in-community argument, and the you've done something wrong argument, you know? Because there are people who are very divisive, and I'm one of those. Specifically in the sense that I am, like, at heart, somebody who has very original opinions on a lot of media, because I have an internal drive to try to see, you know, whenever somebody's, is saying something about a game, I'd think to myself, okay, so this person really hates this game, but why? Could there be another reason? And, that sort of drive to figure out if someone's bullshitting me is kind of what pushes me to try to figure stuff out for myself. If people keep on talking about something like, it is, you know, truly the best game ever made, well, I'll see for myself. That's why I have a lot of arguments online about video games, is because people don't understand, I guess, the concept of differing opinions. Because a lot of the time, a lot of YouTubers are like, they have to walk around on eggshells talking about, like, specifically Nintendo. Let's be real here, it's mostly Nintendo. Sega fans can be told that Sonic 1, 2, and 3 were unplayable garbage, and they're just like, yeah, typical Thursday people hating on the Hedgehog. But oh, you tell Mario fans that in comparison to Mario 3 and 2, the original Super Mario Bros. Kinda sucked because it was a pioneer, and they'll chew your face off. To be clear, what I'm talking about, specifically, you know, the Nintendo fans, I'm talking about, you know, not somebody who likes Nintendo games. You're a normal human being, because Nintendo makes a lot of good games. I'm talking about the guy who would tear your face off and eat it because, you didn't think Mario 64 was an 11 out of 10, which is something I will defend. I guess I can get into it. Yeah, if you don't know, I've made several videos where I've not been very positive on the Nintendo 64 for the simple reason that I don't like it at all. It was not a terrible system, I have to admit. Like, there are decent games on it. You had 2 decent Zeldas. You had a Mario game that was good. You had a Banjo and a Kazooie, and 2 of their games were pretty decent, etc., you know? The issue is just that, once you get past that stuff, a lot of the games aren't I'm running, I don't care. A lot of the games that aren't just those really weren't that good. Like, what, you have Jet Force, Gemini, like, you know, at some point you, like, try to remember them, and then you, like, Gex 2? And then, you know, you realize, oh yeah, the third-party support was Garbo, and the PS1 was basically built off of it. And, in a similar sort of light, what I'm talking about, a lot of old, you know, game stuff, a lot of the more casual stuff, I guess, like, maybe not, you know, games that are kind of still very, you know, playable for competitive people, but at their core, they're casual games that have been adopted by competitive players. Something like Super Smash Bros. Or, like, you know, I guess I haven't seen a competitive Mario Party player yet. But those kinds of games just really don't appeal to me. To me, I would, if I had that big list of Nintendo franchises, I'm pretty sure I would be putting Another Code above Super Smash Bros. Because whenever I think of a Nintendo series, I have to, like, whenever I think of Nintendo games on a platform, I have to go out of my way to remember Smash Bros. Because it's just a fighting game. And fighting games to me are like RPGs to a lot of people. I just couldn't care less. And it causes arguments. Because, yeah. But then the issue is, I'm not like, you know, I'm not like an ultra-contrarian. I think the only bad Metroid game that hasn't been, like, remade and improved was, you know, Other M. And if Nintendo wants to make Metroid a perfect series... I forgot to bring Nethercoat with me, whatever. If Nintendo wants to make Metroid, in my eyes, a perfect series, they should remake Other M's sort of design without making it a bad game. Also, if I see one Metroid Other M Defender in the chat, you will be eaten by 1,000 angry wolves. Like, it is not a good game at all. But yeah, memes aside, and threats of wolfening, it is just... Honestly, from all Nintendo series, Metroid's the one that I feel has been the most consistently high quality. Maybe you could argue the original Metroid kinda sucked, because it was like a rushed mess, but the idea in it was really well planned out, and for what it was pretty well executed for like an early, you know, Famicom Disk System game, and then, you know, NES game. Then, I mean, I guess you kind of can't fault the developers for making the port on the... Not the port, the sequel kind of bad, because it's on the Game Boy. But it isn't even bad, it's just a Game Boy game, and those were limited. Look, what I'm trying to say is that the only Metroid... And, you know, and those games weren't bad, like Sonic 06. They were bad, like, you know... Mario Land, you know, Mario Land 2, where it was just like kinda... The screen format wasn't the best, etc, etc, etc. It's not really their fault. That's why I hate Other M, because it was their fault. But, yeah. And then it's like Zelda, I like a lot of Zelda games. Hey, Ocarina of Time. I said multiple times it pissed people off because I said it wasn't a very good Zelda game. But that isn't because, you know, I think they're bad games. No, I think Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask are good Zelda games. The issue is, Zelda kinda has a pretty high bar, you know? I'll still put them above Wind Waker, though. Purely because the sailing is just kind of boring. But, yeah. The big thing is, with Zelda, I really don't like Breath of the Mid and Tears of the Middom. They kind of fucking, no. Get open world Zelda? No thank you. I'm sorry, I don't like those games. It's like, hey, You want to have a Zelda game where you play and then your sword breaks, so you have to find a new sword. And so, like, you have to defeat Ganon, but you can go to Ganon at any time. And the story, oh, you have to discover the story. And, can we please have, like, the old Zelda format back? Like, can you please bring back, like, The Legend of Zelda Normal Edition? These are, like, basically spin-offs, honestly. It's like how, I guess I'm feeling now how 2D Zelda fans felt when they made 3D Zelda. Because the thing is, open world Zelda isn't how Zelda should be. It's one of the ways Zelda should be. Because clearly a lot of people enjoy it. But it's not how the entire series should be built. It's just one of the many... I'm gonna have to... I don't have any water with me. That's gonna be annoying. Fuck. This is gonna be very annoying to build. But yeah, it's like... I guess my biggest issue with the game is just... A lot of the mechanisms are just kind of tedious, like... I mean, you've probably seen everybody, their mother, and, your favorite game reviewer slash wrestler, hopefully, Stephanie Sterling say, you know, the durability mechanics kind of suck, etc, etc, etc. And it's not a bad game, obviously. I honestly agree. Wait, how did you appear here? I agree with Steph's, like, what was it, a 7 out of 10? And, I also really agree with what she said about Tears of the Kingdom, which was, you know, that kind of taking, you know, the issue with it is just that it lifted too many already flawed ideas from Breath of the Wild. If it was more of its own sort of game, you know, if it could stand out more, then maybe, you know, you would give it a higher score, but considering the game kinda is so similar to Breath of the Wild, it doesn't really fix any of the inherent issues people had with it, well then, you know, the score's gonna stay a 7. Because the original one was also a 7. And I have to agree with that. Because it's just, eh. And it's also, like, the issue that people don't understand how good a 7 is. Because, you know, it's a Zelda game. It should be an 11. Sadly, the score only goes up to 10. 11 is reserved for Earthseeker, too. I guess I should also be, like, transparent about some stuff. Like, holy shit, if I want one Wii property, like, I guess GameCube and Wii property continued, it'd be fucking Battalion Wars. You know, like the, Kuju... Like, the Kuju London 3D Advance Wars, yeah. I miss that. That was really cool. It's a hard series, but it's really cool. But then, like, you know, we won't get that, sadly, because there's not a lot of market demand for that. It honestly sucks. But, you know, what can you do? Yeah, I think I'm happy with this design. I'll continue doing it here, and then I'll make this interior area like an entire floor higher, by the way. But I want this part just done so I know what I'll do later. So yeah, I should probably increase my brightness, because YouTube hates... Yeah, I'm gonna need a lot of basalt, I just realized. Like, more than I probably have in storage. Yeah, probably. Well, you thought this was all gonna be over the moment I'm done with the floor? Like, there's just gonna be a flat ceiling? No, it has to be ornate, which means pain. Yeah. Such as Minecraft. But yeah, almost fell off. I guess I'll leave the roof like that for now, and I'll continue working on here. Like, I'm gonna be honest. I think the biggest issue with modern day Nintendo is just that, people honestly don't understand the inherent issues that with, like, the more open design, I guess. It's kind of like how... What? No! How did you come here? Fuck. It's like that chest meme where the chests are full of torches. You know the one. Did it jump down from the roof? Then maybe none of this is safe. Possibly? Okay, I'm gonna have to make an emergency, hut. Yeah, I think they're spawning on the roof. Which is highly concerning. But hey, we can sleep the night off, which we'll have to do from now on, to dodge the creepers. But yeah, it is just kinda... I don't know. Is that sort of like, you know, I don't like the direction that a lot of open world games go in. Because I feel like it kinda takes away from the experience, you know? Like, I think GTA is one of the few franchises which I feel like would be made significantly worse if it was not an open world. But I don't think I can say that for a lot of other games. Like, you know, Zelda that wasn't an open world, we already had that for most of its life. Honestly, I dislike how in Mario Odyssey, every single star is kind of not its own thing, you know? Like, the technical maximum is like 500 and then 880, but some of them repeat. It just kind of removes the fun in... Oh, I need more, limestone. It kind of kills the fun in trying to, you know, catch them all. And I guess I understand Nintendo's logic, because, like, that way, players don't feel like they're in a rush. But then it just kind of feels like, you know, okay, but then if I don't want to collect all of... You know, if I don't have a need to collect all of them, then why should I bother? Also, like in Mario Galaxy or whatever, every single level was kind of its own thing, you know? But in, you know, it was contextualized, right? Like, you're jumping... There was a really good video from Steve that I saw on this, where, like, in Mario Galaxy, a level that's, like, you know, you're just running on a bunch of platforms that, like, only appear or disappear in front of you or behind you, can be completely different depending on if, like, Yoshi is running around with you and you have to eat, you know, like, those light bulb flowers to see where you're going. Or, like, alternatively, it moves by itself and you have to keep up with the way the level's moving, otherwise the floor will disappear under you. But on, like, you know, Mario Odyssey, it's just kind of a little platforming section that feels like it doesn't really belong there, you know? Like, I know they're video game levels, but in Odyssey, they feel more video gamey than before. Like, I understand it takes a bit of, you know, suspension of disbelief to, say, yeah, this is a completely ordinary cake world, but, like, it's easier for me to believe that, yeah, this is a world made out of cake, than for me to say, yeah, that is, even though these planets share nothing in common, there's the same scarecrow that I put my hat on to do the platforming challenge. I don't like it. I don't like it. Also, there was a Good Noodles video on Ocarina of Time. Well, specifically, reviewing Egoraptor's review of Ocarina of Time from Sequelitis, which was very interesting because that review was, in some respects, very ahead of its time, and in other respects, basically pissed off. I learned quite a bit from it, basically on how not to piss off the audience that you kind of want to have, you know, their mind changed. If somebody likes something, but you think it's bad, the last thing you should do is piss them off. Because then, they won't care to change their minds, and at best, they'll rage watch you. And the thing is, here's the thing, right? It all comes back to the Nintendos, right? Because, like, holy shit. If you think the Nintendo 64 was good, I'm not here to tell you that it was bad, but, like, if you think there was a lot of fun stuff on the N64, like, boy, do I have something insane to show you. Because if if you had fun in that era, and if you can, like, handle the jank, man, you're not gonna believe how much fun stuff is on the other systems. But I guess it's also an issue where a lot of the time, people wouldn't like those games because, you know, if they didn't have Nintendo attached to them. Because a lot of the time, nostalgia is kind of conflated with, not only, like, is it conflated with a game being good, it's sometimes conflated with, like, the company. It's the question of, like, would Mario Galaxy be loved if it was, you know, made by someone else? Well, yeah. But if you think about it, like, would Mario Sunshine be beloved? Would Chibi Robo, like, be cared about still if it was made by, like, some random company? Or would a lot of those other, you know, games that are dead for ages that fans want a new version of, apparently, maybe if they weren't made by Nintendo, people just wouldn't care. Maybe the reason why people care about those games are because they're connected to Nintendo. I made a horrible mistake. Hold on. I did not intend to do this. This was supposed to end here, but I kept building, and now I have to mine out a lot of stone. Because I'm just talking instead of building. It happens way too often. But yeah, I'm hoping that nobody saw this, and... yeah, but basically, okay, we'll salvage some stone from the other part, which is now way too tall. And we'll just kind of... well, these parts will have to be filled in anyways, so it's whatever. But yeah, it was going to be up to here, and then this is where the next floor would be. Oops, so we'll salvage a lot of stone over there. It's not that bad. It's not that bad, actually. Actually, not at all. But it's whatever. Because, like, that part will still be 2 floors. You know... so we just have to dig out this part up until the pillar, and then, you know, repeat this 3 more times. It's fine. But yeah, I don't know. Because a lot of people do genuinely like some of this stuff. Also, sometimes people like to be different. So, like, they like random niche stuff to claim they're fans of, just so they can seem different. Because, like, if somebody asks you, what's your favorite Mario series? I guess, not Mario. What's your favorite Nintendo series? And somebody says Mario, it's like... well, yeah, obviously, he's the guy. But if somebody says, like, fucking... Another Code, or Battalion Wars, people are gonna be like, wow. And, like, those games are cool. But I bet you most people who claim they're fans of those games just kind of say it for attention. Because it's different, you know? And there's no problem in people, you know, just being different, but, like... what I'm saying is I want people to stick by their guns, you know? If you really, really like Another Code, then don't just say you like it. Say why you like it, you know? Differentiate yourself. Try to really beat the drums of this being the best Nintendo game you know. Be more active about why you like things, I guess, is the, you know, big thing, you know? Because everybody knows, like, yeah, Nintendo makes decent stuff. Mostly. But, like, it's kind of like how Nintendo's popularity kind of died off a little bit during the 2010s, because Nintendo had that stupid partner program, which killed people's interests in Nintendo because none of the YouTubers, well, I guess most of them at least, were playing Nintendo games because, I mean, they didn't want their money taken by Nintendo because they have to eat. So, you know. At the very least, Nintendo should have, like, tried to do something to remedy it. And they did, but the partner program that they implemented wasn't very good. And if you want evidence, it was stopped in, like, 2018. And a bunch of big Nintendo tubers kind of, you know, sprung back to popularity in around 2018. But yeah. I guess another thing is a lot of the time people just kind of like to have I mean for very clear reason, you know, people like communities. So having a very niche game that you can all say you're fans of feels more fun than just you know, being the lone holdout. I mean, that's why people think Gen 1 Pokemon was actually good, when it's by far the worst. And I understand why. A lot of people are nostalgic for, like, their first Pokemon generation. I'm a bit nostalgic for Gen 3, but, like, let's be real here. Those games weren't good. Like, I'm not being controversial by saying, like, Gen 1 Pokemon wasn't particularly well built. I mean, it's kind of famous for being buggy. But it's whatever. I mean, there are so many bugs in old Pokemon that I'm pretty sure you can't have a glitchless category. You have to have no major glitches, because glitches will just kinda happen. Like, low health, you know, skipping, text scrolling. And then, you know, or like the bike voucher, skipping something because, bad programming. It's kind of also like, hold on, how was this made? No, I'm stupid. It's kind of like how Game Freak, people nowadays are like, wow, why does Game Freak make games that feel like not the, you know, they're not the highest end, but like, I mean, I've seen people claim that, Pokemon X and Y will, like, I messed it up again. Pokemon X and Y will, like, you know, not a low point comparison to, like, you know, like, oh, Black and White was so high-end on the, DS, but, like, have you played, like, what is it called, like, Infinite Space? Something like that? There are so many absurdly graphically impressive DS and 3DS games. And while Pokemon Sun and Moon and Pokemon, you know, Black and White were pretty decent graphically, they are nowhere near the top. But that's kind of because the top is pretty high up. Yeah, I guess the issue is a lot of the time people forget how capable of 3D, like, the DS was. Oh, this was just by far the worst series of events that could have happened. Not only do I place down the water bucket, but then I fall down, and I have to climb back up. Whatever. Okay, so we finished that. We finished some of this. I guess next time we'll continue doing our work. We also need more glass, actually a lot more. So we'll have to gather some sand to get a new pickaxe and shovel, probably. Well, not pickaxe. Pickaxe is fine, but we need a new shovel. Anyways, I'll see you then. Goodbye. Also, it's winter, which is good because we don't have any rain or snow yet. Bye-bye.